Hi everyone, today I'm going to be filming my palette decluttering video. So I'm going to be going through all of my palettes and sorting them out. If you didn't watch my face decluttering video with all my face products, I will leave that in the description, but it's a similar sort of format to that. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be going through all of my palettes and sorting through them and deciding which ones to keep and things like that. So if you want to see that, then keep on watching. There was just a couple of things I wanted to say before I start. First of all, if you're wondering where the products that I'm not keeping are going, I'm either going to give them to friends, family, or donate them to some sort of charity or refuge or something. Apart from the products that are either too old or too used to pass on, everything won't go to waste. So also I will be doing 2 more parts to this sort of like little series, and I'm not too sure exactly when I'm going to do those yet. So in the meantime, if you do want to subscribe or turn my post notifications on or follow me on any social media, then please do. I really appreciate it. And yeah, that is all I wanted to say, I think. So I'm going to get in with the video. It's going to be quite a long video again, but these videos just are. So hopefully you'll enjoy the video and I will see you all soon. So as I mentioned in the introduction, today I'm going to be decluttering my palettes, and I have got the same layout as last time. If you didn't watch my last decluttering video, I will leave it in the description. But basically, I'm going to put the contents of my drawers in here, and then this is going to be a keep pile, a try pile, because there's a few things that I'm not really sure about and so I want to sort of try further. And then at the top is going to be things to pass on. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to start with my smaller palettes. So I'm just going to empty my smaller palette drawer into here, and the reason why I've done it like this, not directly from my makeup collection, is because I do want to do a makeup collection soon, and I just wanted to do it separately. So in here I have the contents of my smaller palette drawer, and basically the way I divided my palettes up was to have a bigger palette drawer and a smaller palette. So in here I have smaller palettes and quads and things like that. I'm actually just going to go through them quite quickly because there are a lot, and divide them up. So starting with this is from MUA. This is the limited edition, I believe this was, 5th birthday palette. I used to absolutely love this palette, but I just don't use it anymore, and I've just kind of got all of these shades in other palettes, so I don't really need this. For now I'm going to pass this on. Next I have this, and I haven't even included this in a video yet, which is why it is still brand new. So this is the Sophie Does Nails Makeup Revolution palette, and as you can see, it's just so pretty. I can't wait to use this. And for now I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to put it in the testing pile because I haven't tested it out yet. So next I have this palette from number 7. This was actually part of their 80th anniversary collection, I believe it was, and it's a Stay Perfect palette in the shade Nude. This is going to be really hard to show because it's got really reflective packaging, but unfortunately I just don't really use these colours. They are just a bit subtle for me, so I'm going to pass this on because I haven't really used this much at all. Next I have this from Bourjois. This is their Smoky Stories quad, and this one's called Upside Brown. I don't really use the shadows in this apart from this one shade, which is worth keeping it for. This is so nice. It's literally like a glitter in a sort of powder format, and it's just really nice. You can't really see it on camera, but it's just a really pretty gold glitter. The rest of the eyeshadows in it aren't horrible. I just have lots of colours like it, so I don't really use them, but it is definitely worth keeping for that kind of gold colour alone. Next I have this from Revlon. This is one of their little Colour Stay quads, and this is in the shade Seductive. I haven't actually used this yet. I will be trying it out, so I'm going to put this in the testing pile for now. The next palette I have is this one from Makeup Revolution. This is their Redemption palette, and it's Mermaids vs Unicorns. This for me isn't like an everyday palette, but it's one of those things that I think is actually really handy to have, especially when it comes to like Halloween and stuff, and even summer. Like I might try out some of these like bluey kind of colours, and this one here is so pretty as well. It's actually a really nice palette, and I will keep this for now. Next I have another palette from Makeup Revolution. This is their Fortune Favours the Brave palette. Unfortunately I've just never really got on with this, so I am going to pass this on because as you can see I haven't really used it much. It's got some nice colours in it, but a lot of them I just don't use, and then the ones that I would use I've got loads of, so I just don't need this. Next I have this from Collection. This is one of their Eyes Uncovered palettes. I have quite a few of these, as you will see. This one is the Nude Bronze one, and this is pretty, but again I have so many colours like this that I just don't need this one, so I'm going to pass that one on as well. Also from Collection I have their Eyes Uncovered nude palette. I actually used to wear this to school, so this is quite like a sentimental product for me, but I just don't use it, and I have so many colours like this that I just don't need this, and so I am going to pass this one on as well. Next I have this palette from Technic. This is their Mega Sultry 2 eyeshadows, and I just do not use this. I kept it pretty much for this like lavendery shade, but I just haven't used it, and yeah, I'm just not going to use it, so I am going to pass this on because I've hardly used this at all. So next I have this palette from Sleek. This is their limited edition On the Horizon palette. It's a really nice palette. It's got some really lovely shades in here, but I just do not use this, and so I am going to pass this on. Next in here I have this from Chanel. This is one of their like little quad eyeshadows, which looks like this, and then the actual name for it is Les Faux Ombre. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I actually left GCSE French early, so don't judge me for my French accent. But this is in the shade Mystic Eyes, and it looks like this. So I got this for either Christmas or my birthday, and to be honest I just haven't used it. Like the colours, they're nice colours, but they just aren't very me, and I just haven't used this at all, so I am actually going to pass this on, or I might even try and sell it because I haven't actually used it at all. So I am going to either pass it on or sell it, but I'm just going to put it with the stuff to pass on. Next I have two of the Max Factor Masterpiece Nude eyeshadow palettes. This one is Cappuccino Nudes, and then I have this one which is called Rose Nudes. So these are amazing palettes. I absolutely love them. Like the eyeshadow quality is so good, and they're fairly affordable. I think they're about £15 each, which is a little bit more expensive for like a high street palette, but they are so good, and I just don't know what to think about them because to be honest I don't really use them, but at the same time I really like them. I think I might pass the Cappuccino one on because I just don't reach for that as much, and I think I might keep the Rose one for now. Next I have this palette from Makeup Revolution. This is the Neutrals versus Neutrals eyeshadow palette. So this palette looks like this. I used to absolutely love this. To be honest, I've never really used the bottom row because it's very similar to the Urban Decay Naked 3, and when I've got that I just don't really need more of them, if that makes sense. So the only colours I used really were these top like 4, and I just feel like I don't need them now. I have the Morphe 350 and that has a lot of similar colours in it, so I am actually going to pass this on, and yeah, I just don't need it anymore, so this can go. The next palette I have is from MUA again. This is their Undressed eyeshadow palette, and I don't really reach for this too much to be honest, but it's the only dupe I have for Urban Decay Naked 1. I don't own Urban Decay, like the original Naked palette, so I think it's quite handy to have like a product that's like quite similar. I am going to hold on to this. Next I have this from Wet n Wild. This is one of their Colour Icon eyeshadow trios. This one's called Knock on Wood, and it's like a really pretty like purpley browny kind of like trio, and I'm going to hold on to this for now just because I do really love it, and I'm going to see how much I use it in the next kind of couple of weeks, and if not I will pass it on, but for now I'm going to put that in the testing pile. So then I have this palette from Makeup Revolution. This is the Redemption Palette Essential Mattes 2. I'm actually going to pass this on because I don't need this palette anymore. I have like all of these colours in so many palettes that I already own, so I just don't need it, and I haven't used it an awful lot, so that can be passed on. Next I have the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette, which is a bit of like an old school classic. This is like something that like everyone had back in the day. To be honest, I haven't really used this much, and I don't think I will, so I am going to pass this on. It's got some nice colours in there, they're just not very me, and the ones that are I've just got lots of, so I just don't need this. So next I have another palette from Sleek. This is their Storm palette. So these are the colours in the Storm palette. I've had to hold it up this way just because the mirror kept kind of flashing with my ring light, so it just wasn't really working. But yeah, these are the colours. I used to literally love this palette, and I still like it. As you can see, it's like broken, like it's definitely kind of worse for wear. I think I might put it in the testing pile because I did used to love it so much that I just kind of want to use it maybe like a few more times and just make sure that I definitely don't want it. Because it does have a few quite like standout colours like this green and blue. So I am going to hold on to this for a little bit longer, and I'm going to put this in the testing pile. Then I have another palette from Sleek. This is their older packaging. This is a really old palette. This is called Oh So Special, and this is really like worn out, like the mirror's gone on it, and you know, this eyeshadow's been smashed. It's a nice palette, but this is just so old now that I just need to bin this, so I am just literally going to bin it. The next palette I have in here is from 17, and I actually found out the other day that 17 is being discontinued as a brand, like the whole brand is going, which I'm really sad about because there's lots of stuff that I love from 17. And it really reminds me of like when I started out with makeup. It was like one of the first brands that I ever bought from and tried, and yeah, I'm really sad to see them go. There's a lot of things I do like from them. This is their Easy on the Eye palette in the shade Birthday Suit. These are the colours. They're all really nice actually, but I just don't use this palette, so I am going to pass this on. The next palette I have is this one, which is from MUA. This is the Undress Me 2 palette, and this is a dupe for Urban Decay Naked 2, which I also don't own. So I am going to hold on to this for now, just because, again, I think it's quite handy to have a product that's similar to the Naked 2 palette. So next in here I have this, which is one of my favourite eyeshadow kind of products that I own. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Dolce Vita palette, and I absolutely love this. The colours are really nice, and yeah, it's just an all-round amazing palette. I love it, so I will definitely be keeping that. Next I have this palette from Collection, which was a collaboration with Little Mix, and I don't know if this is even about anymore. I am going to pass this on though because I just don't use these colours and I don't need them, so that can go. Next I have this palette from Makeup Revolution. This is their Ultra Eye Contour Light and Shade palette. To be honest, I just haven't used this, so I'm going to pass this on. Next I have the Maybelline Blush Nudes palette. I actually really like this. It's a really pretty palette. I don't really know how much I am going to use it though. Realistically, looking at the colours, they're just not very me at all. I love this one here, but like I'm not just going to keep a palette for the sake of that one shade, so I think it's time I say goodbye to this. And then to go along with that, I also have the original kind of nudes palette from Maybelline, which looks like this. Again, I just don't need these shades, I don't use them, and someone else can use it, so I'm going to pass that on as well. So next I have another one of the Collection Eyes Uncovered palettes. This one's called Nude Rose, and it's just got some really pretty like pinky kind of colours. I don't need this palette, I don't use it, and so I'm going to pass this one on as well. Next I have these two palettes from Sleek, and these are part of like their Christmas range, and they've done them every year now for the past like 3 years that I know. So the first one I have is this one, and this one's from Christmas 2015, so it is quite an old palette. This is from the 24 karat gold collection. It's called the Gold Standard, and I do actually really like this palette. I do use the colours in it quite often. This cream eyeshadow is amazing, and this gold's really nice as well, so I'm going to keep that for now. And then I have this one, which has this amazing packaging, and this one's from the Rockstars collection. It's called Diamonds in the Rough, and this is from Christmas 2016, and this is what it looks like. It's got some really nice colours actually, and I sort of forget I have this palette, so I'm going to put this in the testing pile and hopefully use it a bit more, but if not I will pass it on. So the final palette is this one from MUA. This is their Elysium palette, and these are what all the colours look like. I haven't really used this ever, to be honest. I don't think I've ever used it actually, and I bought it because it is a really pretty palette, but I just don't think I need this anymore. I am going to pass this on because there's no point in me keeping it. So as you can see, I've actually gotten rid of most of my palettes because there's just so many like repetitive colours in there. There's so many products that I just didn't use, and a lot of them are like fairly new, so I might as well pass them on. So these are the ones I will definitely be keeping, and these are the ones I will be testing out. And then I just had only one to bin, which was this one from Sleek. So that is the small palette section of the video done, and now I'm going to move on to my bigger palettes. So moving on to the final section of this video, which is my bigger palette section. The only difference between these and the other ones are that these are literally just bigger in size. That's the only difference. So starting with this is the NYX Beauty School Dropout palette. This one is called Back to Basics, and I actually really like this palette. So in here you get two sections. You get a face section which has 3 blushes, 2 highlighters, a bronzer and a contour colour, and then you get the eyeshadow section which has a whole bunch of eyeshadows in. To be honest, I haven't really used the eyeshadows much just because I sort of forget about them, to be honest, but I do actually really like this palette. The face section I've used many a time because I do really like it, and yeah, this is really reflective, so it's really hard to show you, but this is what it looks like, and I will be keeping this. Next palette I have in here is the Tanya Burr Cosmetics Candy Glam Beauty Essentials palette. This was a Christmas exclusive, I'm not too sure how long ago, but this is what it looks like. So you get 9 eyeshadows, a blusher and a bronzer. To be honest, I just don't use this palette. The eyeshadows are really pretty and I do like them, but I just don't really reach for this palette at all. I am going to pass this on. Next in here I have this palette from Tarte. I can't remember the exact name of this palette. But these are the eyeshadows. You may have noticed this. This was my most liked picture on Instagram ever, was a picture of this palette. But yeah, these are the eyeshadows. As you can see, I haven't really used them, to be honest. I don't really rate them too much. Like, they're just not really stand out kind of colours to me. I'm kind of a little bit let down by this palette. And then also in here you get like a little mini palette, which I have used a fair bit, but again, I still haven't really used it that much because I just don't really like reach for it too much. I think I might put it in the testing pile for now, and hopefully I can sort of get to learn to love it. But next in here I have this palette from Charlotte Tilbury. Next in here I actually have 2 of the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in a palette, and these are different colours but they are very similar. So this is the first one I ever got. This one is called Natural Beauty. It looks like this, so I really like this. I've used this a lot considering, and it is really pretty. But then I got this one for my birthday and I haven't used it yet because it's just a little bit too similar, so I might pass this on. This is called Beauty Glow. At the bottom is Beauty Glow and at the top is Natural Beauty, and as you can see there's just not that much difference in between them to kind of warrant keeping the second one. It's just a little bit too similar and I just feel like there's not really any point in me keeping it. So I will keep my original one, which is the Natural Beauty one, because I do really like that as a palette. But the second one, which is called Beauty Glow, I will pass on. The next palette I have is from The Balm. This is the only main product I own from The Balm apart from the Mary Lou highlighter. But this I actually really like. It's called the Balm Voyage Volume 2. This is what it looks like. It's a really flat palette because it is for travelling. You get 9 eyeshadows in here. To be honest, I don't love the eyeshadows like loads. I do really like the first sort of 2 sections here. These 3 I don't really use, but I'm not too fussed about that. The highlighter is amazing. I quite like the bronzer, and the blushes are quite nice. These 2 at the bottom I've never really used, but that doesn't really matter. I will keep this because it is a great palette if you are travelling, and it does have some nice colours in it, and I do really like it, so I will be keeping this. Next I have a palette from Makeup Revolution. This is their Ultra Blush palette in Hot Spice. This is actually a really nice blush palette, but I just don't reach for this, and the colours are a little bit too intense for me, so I'm going to pass this on. Next I have this from Smashbox. This is their Shape Matters palette. This I absolutely love. I've used it a lot, as you can see. There are 9 eyeshadows. The eyeshadows I don't really reach for that much, but the bronzer, contour, the matte highlighter and the shimmer highlighter I absolutely love, and the eyebrow powders I also really love, as well as the eyebrow wax. And yeah, it's a great palette. I do really like it, and I will be keeping this. So next I have my latest Morphe palette. I own 2 Morphe palettes now, and I bought this one a little bit before Christmas. I haven't used it yet because I wanted to show it in a video first. This is the Morphe 3502. Just look at it. It's amazing. I never thought I'd find a palette that I love more than the Morphe 350, but this one I can just tell already I'm going to love even more, and I can't wait to use it. So I'm going to put this in the try and pile for now because I haven't tried it out yet, but I just know I'm definitely going to love this. So to go along with that, I have my original Morphe 350. I'm so happy that they changed the packaging. I didn't dislike this packaging, but I think the packaging now looks so much nicer. But this is the 350. And as you can see, I love it. I use it literally every single day. It's just great. So I'm definitely going to be keeping this. Next I have this palette from Magic Cosmetics. This is their HD Magic palette, and it looks like this. So as you can see, this palette has been quite well used by me. It's a little bit battered and a little bit worse for wear, but this is actually a really handy palette to have for Halloween. I used it last year. I keep saying this year, but I keep forgetting it's like a new year now. I used it last year for Halloween and it worked really nicely, and even though I don't use these colours like every day, it's just one of those things that's quite handy to have. And yeah, I do quite like having like a palette with all these sort of bright colours in, so I will be keeping this for now. Next I have the Stila in the Light palette. These are the colours in there. To be honest, I don't really use this palette at all. I love this shade, which is called Bubbly, and I love this shade, which is called Kitten, but apart from that, I don't think I've ever used any of the other colours. and I just don't reach for it, so I'm not really sure what to think about it, because I really do love the shade Kitten and Bubbly. I might see if they sell it in single shadows and instead buy those. For now, I think I'm going to put this in the testing pile and kind of see if I can make it work, but if not, I will pass it on. I have this palette from Makeup Revolution. This is their Ultra Professional Eyeshadow Flawless Matte Palette. So this is what all the colours look like. I do not need this. I don't use it at all, and there's lots of colours that I have similar to this in other palettes, so I just don't need it, and someone else can get some good use out of this, so I'm going to pass this on. Next, I have my MAC Warm Neutral palette. To be honest, I was actually really quite disappointed by this. I got this for Christmas last year, and as you can see, like, I've hardly used it because the colours just, they're all a bit disappointing, and I was actually a little bit sort of disheartened by this palette because I had quite high hopes, and I don't know, they're just not that great in terms of quality, and yeah, I just don't know if I'm using them wrong, or I don't know, but I'm just not really feeling this palette. So I'm going to put this in the testing pile because it is an expensive palette and I don't want to completely let it go straight away, but I am a bit disappointed in this, to be honest. Next, I have the Soap & Glory The Perfect 10 palette. They do this every Christmas, but they kind of just change it about a little bit. This is what it looks like. It is a really pretty palette, but I just don't use this. As you can see, the colours are pretty much brand new and the colours are really nice, but I just have lots of similar ones and I just don't need this, so this is going to go to someone else. This is going to be really hard to show because it's got a mirrored front, but this is a little palette I have from NARS. This is the Narcissus Blush Contour and Lip Palette. I bought this from Space NK. This is what it looks like inside. So you've got 3 blushes. They are Enrapture, Enwrathled and Roman Holiday, I believe. The lip gloss in it is quite nice. It's called Istria. It's quite a nice, like, just pretty sort of everyday gloss. And then the main reason why I wanted this palette is because underneath there is the Laguna bronzer and the Albatross highlighter, and these two are both really nice, but the bad thing is about this is that the packaging is just really awkward. Like, it's so hard to actually reach the products because it's got these like little sides. It's just really hard to like get your brush in there, and the brushes that I use are like way bigger than the pan itself, and it's just really hard to use, and I just don't know what to think about this palette. I feel like I kind of wasted my money with it. I wish I'd just bought a bit of a better palette from NARS because I see so many better ones. I think I'm going to put this in the testing pile and kind of see, really. Next, I have this palette from Tarte. This is the Be Your Own Tartist palette, and I haven't really used this, to be honest. As you can see, I just haven't really reached for it much, so I will pass this on because it is a nice palette. It does have some nice colours in it, and it obviously has the blusher, which is actually full size, but just for me, I just haven't ever really used it. So then I have my Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. I actually love this. It's a really nice palette. I actually use it most days, and the colours in it are really nice. Definitely will be keeping this. So also from Too Faced, I have the Sweet Peach palette. This I also really like. I use most of the shades in here, and yeah, it's just great, so I'm definitely going to be holding on to this. Next, I have the Urban Decay Smoky palette. I got this for Christmas, not last year but the year before. Some people are probably going to feel like kicking me, but I actually haven't used this yet. It's completely intact, and I feel so bad for saying it, but I just don't think I'll ever use this palette. The colours are just not for me, and it makes me feel bad because someone did buy me this palette as a present, obviously, but I'm not going to use it, so I will be passing this on, or at least trying to sell it. I have the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. To be honest, I haven't used this anywhere near as much as I thought I would. When I first got this, I was like, yes, I love these kind of colours, I use them every day, and at the time I did, but since then I've kind of gone off these colours. I don't hate them, they are nice, but they are just quite sort of subtle, and yeah, I haven't used this as much as I thought I would, but I do want to keep it for now because it is really pretty, and these are the only sort of colours like this that I have now because I've sort of got rid of everything else that is similar. Then the final thing in here is from Benefit. This is their Cheeky Sweet Spot, which is a sort of palette thing they did quite a few years ago now, but I still have mine. Basically in here you have 6 of their powdered like blushes and the Huda bronzer as well. So the blushes that you have are Dandelion, Bella Bamba, Sugar Bomb, Coralista and Rocketeur, and then you have the Huda bronzer as well. You did have a little mini What's Up highlighter and a brush, but those have since gone because this is a very old palette. I do really like this. It is nice to have all the Benefit products all in one. That is it for my big palette. So I will be getting rid of these ones at the back and keeping these ones at the front. I am keeping a bit more than I'm giving away this time, but as a whole, my bigger palettes are my more high-end palettes, and as a whole, if I'm going to spend lots of money on something, I will make sure that I sort of like it. So that is why, and yeah, I'm happy with the choice that I've made. I'm happy that I am still kind of getting rid of some products and the products that I don't use. That is it for this video. I hope you've all enjoyed watching me declutter my palette collection, and if you would like to see more of these videos, please let me know. I am planning on doing one for my eye makeup and one for my lip makeup as well. Thank you for watching anyway, and I hope you liked the video, and yeah, I will see you all soon.